morning, sir. Can you state your name and your profession?
My name is Hue Ngoc Tran, and my nickname Harry. One of my Marine advisors named me as the Harry for easy to call, and now a lot of my advisors, my American friends, know me as the Harry Hue Tran.
So what's your profession?
I was an officer graduate from Dalat Military Academy, class 18, graduate from 1963. And I was assigned to 1st Urban Division Station in Hue City. And my division AO, area of operation, is the Thừa Thiên and Quảng Trị province. And we take care of the defense, the Magna Fair defense line from Viet to Khe area. And I worked as the platoon leader and company commander. And after that, I was assigned as the command the 1st Urban Division Reaction Forces. And its name is the Hắc Bao company. That is a big company and reaction force for 1st Urban Division and Marine and U.S. Marine and U.S. 104th Airborne Division and whoever need us to reinforce in our area. And Black Panther, if translated into English, it is black. Hắc Bao is a Black Panther company, and most of people know as the Hắc Bao.
So what was your last rank in South Vietnam Army? Highest rank.
Okay, my last rank in Republic of Vietnam Armed Forces is a Lieutenant Colonel, and when I command 2nd Battalion of 2nd Regiment and 1st Urban Division.
Sir, I believe that you fought many battles during Vietnam War. Or which battle leave you a lot of memory, and can you share with us?
In my military life, I have participated many operations, but there are two big battle I was in is at the Tet Offensive in Hue City, and another one at Lam Sơn 719 in Laos in March of 1971.
So at Battle at Hue, can you tell us a little detail what you doing then, how you coordinate with American troops to regain, to liberate that city after, I believe that many days of occupation from North Vietnam Army?
Before answering you about the detail of what I have done in the Battle of Fort Hue and how I get in touch with Marine and other in that battle. I would like to say this if the war in Viet Minh counter French colonial force in Vietnam, the battle of Dien Bien Phu is the key battle to resolve the war, 1949 to 1944, 54. And the battle of Hue City is the same kind of that battle. They want to defeat our forces, our government, to occupy Hue City to resolve the Vietnam War, but they could not. Now I answer you about the what I am doing there. My company, Hắc Bao, Black Panther, is the reaction force of my division as the last reserve forces for my commanding officer, General Ngọc Tran, the division commander. And it was a very surprise battle, and I was engaged since I was in the operation of many battle. And under we got surprised, but we turned from the it would be defeated because and become get victory, big victory, and we defeat them very, very significantly. And my company have a rescue, and while the division headquarters was surrounded by sapper, by the special forces of North Vietnam, and some of them already infiltrated inside the headquarters of division, and we come and to counter and destroy them and save division headquarters, and so my commander and my division staff could survive and direct the other unit to reinforce and to counter attack in many battles around Hue City. And not only that victory, my Hắc Bao still have reinforced to the other unit like 3rd Regiment of 4th Infantry Division to counter attack at the west of Hue City. And this battle have a lasting 26 days. So 26 days and night we have to counter and counter enemy on over the area inside the Hue City and outside. That included urban airborne and urban ranger, urban marine, and U.S. marine. And we have a reinforced from 3rd Aircraft Division. And we fought so fiercely. And I could tell you that it is a bloody battle. One U.S. Marine take care the AO about the half mile, and with their force and a lot of casualty, like the other unit, urban unit, we have a lot casualty. But we still get forward to counterattack to get our goal. And finally, Hakbao have reoccupy the Imperial City. That is where our king Bao Dai and other king of Viet kingdom have built up and govern my country until 1954. So, with that victory, bring to liberate our people at Thủy City and Thu Thien province have get the freedom for 7 more years.
So you're talking about a very bloody war. I heard that the South Vietnam Army have a lot of casualty and also communist force. But civilian was also heavily casualty killed, and also we heard about mass grave. You recall anything about those? Can you explain to us?
I told you about Hue City is a bloody battle. It really bloody battle, but not only for military personnel, but also for the civilian, means the Hue people. That is the not propaganda story, but real thing happened when the area we cannot recover from the enemy occupy. We see and North Vietnam forces occupy. They have captured many civilians, and then they kill them by any way they could. Like they bury in the many graves in the foxhole, in the mass graves. So it countless people still missing and not covered, but where the area the people.
Can you continue to talk about the civilian, the death of the civilian of Rain?
How was found and buried? Okay. It's so sad to recall my memory about the story about my friend, my Hue citizen were killed by the enemy and VC in Tet Offensive. But I have a friend and who live and he and working in second division in south of Da Nang, second Infantry Division, who he come back to Hue City as before to celebrate the Tet at the ceremony New Year of Vietnam. Is the most holiday, important holiday for the Vietnamese people. That's our custom. But he live with his wife and his children and in his parent family with a brother and sister. And he have he live when he come back there. He has a civilian, and they come and they capture him outside and kill him right in front of his parent house. And the other live in Nguyệt, and he from Saigon and come back to Hue for Tết. And when VC coming, he tried to run to the Catholic church close by, and he and on the Catholic people come there for pray and to hopefully they will not attack the church, but they still coming and surround, and they ask who is the agent officer and soldier of they call purpose government of the that they call us South Vietnam government and our army. We belong to that army. Stand up. If not get out, they will kill all of those people. So my friend get out, stand up, and then he take out of in front of church and kill him. And other people from at the district of Phu Thư or Gia Hoi or Phu Cam, and then in the same case they come to the house and say that come to for the concentration to for learning about the revolutionary policy of because they say that this city was occupied by liberation forces of South and North Vietnam. So people come follow them, and then they buy them, and then they take them to the suburb and to forest and kill them. So I never thinking of the kind of people who kill their people, their relatives, with a spirit, with bloody sense, and so that make me so angry. And in the battle, I already heard the story about the enemy. The enemy kill our people. So we, our officer and men, have a square that we try to defeat them, to save our people, or we dead. That only way we have done in the spirit of the not to survive, you got to fight. And fight until your last blood.
Did you see on your own eyes about the masquerade? What did it look like and how you feel about all that?
The masquerade is when they take the people, they go to the jungle and they tell the people to dig the trenches for protect the artillery and people. After people were done the trenches and they kill and they put those people under the trenches. So the kind of the way they attack Hue City in Tet Offensive is different with the King Quang Trung Nguyễn Huệ, our famous king, to attack the Chinese force in our history. Our King Quang Trung Nguyễn Huệ, he attacked it. He command counter-attack the Chinese forces on the 5th day of the Tet, not on the first, on the beginning Tet like BC and Viet have done for us in the Tet Offensive 1968. And there are two different reasons. King Quang Trung will attack the adversary of Chinese to Vietnam, and we are Vietnamese. North Vietnam, Vietnam, Vietnamese. South Vietnam, Vietnamese. So don't use other reason to say that they are right to open fire or to open operation in the state. The very sacred holiday for each Vietnamese, not only today, but from our many generations transferred to us.
So, how many people were killed in the battle?
Civilian, about 5,000 or 6,000 were found, but I don't know. Not the mixing is not found. It's not uncounting, countless. That the countless.
So you were witness any mass grave dig up and?
No, I'm sorry. I'm so busy with my operation. Continue operation after operation. To discover and recovery the body of those those dead by NBA. I'm not. That's not my mission. But I'm to protect them to do that.
I heard that after that they dig up, they also have a mass funeral for them. Was you there? Are you already gone for your mission, other mission?
The case of massacres of NBA to the people, mean the people of Hue City, now still on investigation. Why not we bring the case to the world won't court about that happened to our people, massacres.
So you were named after the city, right? and you grown up there, and you become a hero that liberate the city under the attack and occupied by North Vietnamese army. When you saw all the city destroyed, all the people die and kill cruelly like that. So what was your feeling?
My parents named me as a Hue, first name. They hope I got to do something for Hue City. And I'm very proud to have done something my home city. And until now, I still thank God, thank Buddha, thank everyone help me to fulfill my parents' expectation. And until now, I'm still in debt with my homeland country and my home city, because with with our ancestors. So that is I'm so sorry, so sad about thinking about that.
So looking at the Battle Hue, we win, but people in the United States, the press, and also North Vietnam Vietnamese army, they said they won the battle, but the U.S. and turned that war into a big defeat for us, because they have a propaganda saying that bloody battle, and those people dead because of the South Vietnamese army killed them, and from the bombing of America. What do you think about that? What is your response to that propaganda, or for those people put out those news and those rumor about that battle?
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised when I heard about the propaganda. That's the way Hanoi government and their army and their people do like that so many years. And they have, maybe they convince some people, innocent people in the West, but not for Vietnamese. We know the way they do that. But some reality, some real story is a real story. What's true is true. You cannot cover the sun by the hand. And if you say some bad thing for the other people, someday it is true, you will get the reverse. Yeah. So the way they say the Arvin and the ally have a bomb and have a kill our people like that is not our way. Even you know that when Tet Offensive, I captured a lot of NBA officer and men, and priority the people who wounded, I would take care. I tell my medic to take care of them first. And I tell them, you are survived because you're lucky I capture you. And you believe we live who we are. And don't believe they propaganda. You are survived now. And I take them to the real. to safety out of the battle area. That from my heart, I tell you story between and me is a God. To set that's a story.
So thank you for the information and you shared your feeling about the battle. Okay. And now we move to the second battle that gives you a lot of memory, which is Lam Sơn 719. Can you tell us about the purpose of that battle?
In 1979, March, my when at that time I commanded the 2nd Infantry Battalion, 2nd Regiment of 4th Urban Division. And my AO, my operation area is from in the DMZ, the military zone, along the Ben Hai River, 17 parallel, separate North and South Vietnam. And at that time, the United States government and Congress have a new strategy for Vietnam War, is Vietnamization. What is the Vietnamization? Vietnamization, that means use Vietnamese infantry and support by firepower by U.S. Air Force and U.S. infantry and Marine. And to lighten the mission of the U.S. force in Vietnam, U.S. and then my government organized an operation to attack to Cambodia in the south. And then 71, we opened another operation into Laos to cut off the Ho Chi Minh Trail and destroy all the supply installation along Ho Chi Minh Trail and city of Sepon in south of Laos. And the force rule engaged in that operation is the very 1st Urban Division, Infantry Division, Vietnam Airborne Division, and Vietnam Marine Division, and 2 and 3 battalion of Vietnamese Rangers. And we have a tank, we have artillery followers. And my regiment, 2nd Regiment, has a mission to defend, reserve for operation and station along the DMZ. And as you know, Laos is the rear of NVA, where they station the infantry force, the tank, the ammunition, and gasoline, and everything. And they have prepared to cope with this operation very long time. So when we get in there, we count on the support by B-52 bomber to drop bomb and to the jet, Navy jet from 7th Fleet, or from Air Force, or from the Nang, or from Utapao in Thailand, and so on. But we got an overhammer enemy forces to counter us, and they know the area, the road, as I know the Hue City area, and the terrain and the weather very uncomfortable for our forces, because we occupy the highland, and at that time in springtime is the winter, is very hot and no water and everything, and so we are very in the worst situation, and so when Marine and Airborne and other cannot reach to advance to occupy, the last goal is to occupy the Chepon city. And President Thieu and General Lam, commanding the operation, have ordered to my regiment commander to heli-lift us to the main operative Chepon.
I know we took that one up.
It's so hard, and then, but we have a fulfill our mission to land in there and to destroy on the main supply of the enemy, and then to withdraw out of the Chepon. But not only withdraw there, and I got to reinforce to some of infantry battalion of 3rd Regiment was surrounded by NVA. So my battalion got to help them to break down the cordon surround, and they can withdraw back to Vietnam. And after that, my battalion was surrounded. And my battalion got a lot of casualty, and I was finally seriously wounded. And I was captured by later on, and that day, and they took me to Hanoi in April. I was captured in March 21st, 1971, and they brought me back to Hanoi in April 11, 1971, and they put me in the Hoa Lo and nicknamed as the Hanoi Hilton. And I would tell you that, you know how much my soldier and my officer get back to Vietnam, only 55 or 60 of them. And a lot of my soldiers and men were killed and captured. So it's a sad story, but I'm always thinking, you know, I have done all of my mission that my commander have assigned to me. I'm so proud what I am done. I'm not sorry because of that battle. I was MIA, I was a POW, and no, I'm proud what I have done because we usually say that never value a hero by the victory or by the defeated.
So when you were kept in Valor, did you were kept the same place with the US POW?
That's right.
You met any of them and you remember any of them? Can you tell the condition there?
When I was in Hanoi Hilton, you know, in prisoner of war life in North Vietnam, in communist, they always confine you in separate cell. Cell means small room, you know, enough for you sleep. And they never let you contact with other prisoners. Yeah. And they, on the wall of the cell, a lot of teeny, small speaker. They can register what you talk, what you think, you said, yeah, everything. Yeah. So they control your mind from there. And so it's hard for each of us contact each other. But I know that time my, the U.S. pilot were imprisoned there. But I'm not come back, stay there one time. I back and go other place and then come back 3 times. Yeah. So, but where I live, what's the cell? I always see my mate, you know, prison mate, put their name and they on the wall the day they were captured, and they would like to the other prisoner know they still survive. That is the way we can contact by reading the information on the wall of each cell.
Do you remember any name at all you saw?
Oh, it's hard for me to know, but I know the Senator McCain were there because they tell they told the Senator McCain were in prison there, and he's the son of the Admiral McCain, something they like propaganda that they kept a lot of important people in this prison.
So when you fought with American in Hue and you fought without American, only 8 in battle of Nam Son 719. What is the difference you can feel?
That is a very good question. When we fought with Marine, 101st Airborne, or 5th Mechanized by my side, my spirit and my morale is good because we have support by friendly forces, and I was not scared about shortage supply, shortage medivac, shortage reinforcements. because you should know that if one American live there, and leave behind, and other forces and never forget them. They try to take them out of area any prices. Not like, and the other side, if I'm fighting by ourselves, by our outside like in Leon, only support by Air Force, by US. I'm so lonely because worry about if I'm short ammunition, not enough, not chopper supply, come right away. Even I need air support, not right away. Because my advisor called the fire support, medevac, and B-52 strike faster than me. That is true story. And another real story, the high command trust in my advisor than me, more my advisor than me. That's true story. But who knows? Right, Ted? You know about that.
I do.
I tell you a story from my sorrow heart. The story. A lot of story we should not tell that here, but that's true story.
What do you think about the, American soldiers? You talk to them, you think that they are good? They are, heroic?
You asked me that question, so I'm so, at first, I'm so sad because a lot of Americans have sacrificed their life for our freedom, for Vietnamese, South Vietnamese freedom, and they live their life there. And they name now almost 60,000 on the world, and some of them still missing. And they are soldiers, they are Marines, they are airmen, they are sailors, and they are do many impossible missions. Unknown soldiers, and they so brave. They are so open, so great, because they fight a battle far from their home country, their family, thousand miles away. Different custom, different weather, and I'm not angry, or I'm not think they are bad or they are sorrow, but they're bad of the bad. And only thing I'd like to say, to thank them, and God to bless their soul, and to thank their family, have their loved one sacrifice for us. So now I can meet you and every people over here in this free country like United States.
So you sacrifice a lot, and you fought all you could to the last drop of your blood and your friend. What do you think about the outcome of the war?
The outcome of the war, I think, very miraculous. One One famous general, Chinese general, about 2,000 years ago said, Sun Yun, and hero, friendly and everything. So that means who is who is hero? Who got the victory on that war? Well, so I think we got it. We got it. We don't attack, invade North Vietnam, but now the people are from north to south always look on us. Especially the present situation. China tried to occupy our country, our sea, our land, our sea, and everything. On our Vietnamese, I think, look at us for supporting. Not only us, but on American too. So finally, I thought the outcome is we win the war.
So I have one last question. How did you get out of Houston and how did you come to the United States?
Thank God, I get out of the prison, out of the re-education camp by the intervene of the Department of State to Hanoi government. And after in 1983 July, but it was suffered to me and my family a lot, and we live without everything. So my former advisor, Lieutenant Colonel David Wiseman, he's my last advisor, and he lives in this area, and he tried to bring my picture around the Vietnamese community in this area and look for my information. He asked that am I still surviving, and give him address that he sent the support money or whatever. And finally in 1990 he found me out, and by the Missy Cook Winter former political association, family association, and he found my information, and he sent money to help me, and he do everything, rent the apartment and brought me here. And now he passed away 7 years ago, and he lay in Arlington Cemetery, and I come to see him very often, and want to talk to him. My family never forgot you, and never forgot the heart of the American people. Have a safe earth, and so we have a life as now.
I'm here in a very beautiful neighborhood in Virginia. How do you live right now? So you happy? Your life is comfortable? How is it? Your life right now?
After landing on this country, 1991, and so far is almost 20 years, 21 years, and I do any job to survive. I pray God, let me come here and press the freedom air, and I can stand firm on my foot, and I do any job to survive. And I retired from Navy Federal Credit Union, and it very some story look like humorous, but it real happened to me. I work with Army, 101st Airborne. I work with Marine, U.S. Navy. I belong to U.S. Navy, and but now Navy raised my Navy raised my family, and my I work there. My wife worked there, and my 3 daughters still working there. Now I retired from Navy Federal after 16 years, and by this chance I'd like to thank U.S. Navy, and U.S. Navy have a name. One of the cruiser ship at the U.S. at Hue City, very model ship. I was there for several times to yes.
Have any question for Harrison?
Well, I've got a lot, but I'll keep it short. Okay. What was your relationship with Captain Meadows at the time and why?
Captain Meadows, he was with we in the other part of the Marine, so I fight in the urban area, and that the Marine want to do other job, and I took a replace them, and I reoccupy Hue City, and my other unit occupy the Hue high with the pole, flagpole. And so I met Captain Meadows on the battleship at Hue City, but when I Tet Offensive, my advisor is Captain Kulikan. He's now retired with a full colonel, and before he retired, he was a chief of staff NATO, and he lives now in Michigan. And I have another advisor in Tet, is the Captain William Joe Bow. He now Lieutenant General U.S. Army retired. He lives in South Carolina. When I come here, Washington Post put the right article about me, and a lot of my advisors come back to see me and welcome me. 10 are on of my advisor. I love you all.
Okay. General Benjamin Harris.
Mm-hmm.
What was your relationship with him? Was he a colonel at the time?
Who?
General. I think his name is Ben Harrison.
Harrison.
In your book, he talks about you about 3 times. I think that's his name. He was a colonel. And do you have a copy of your book in here?
Yeah, I have a. Okay, if you want, I present to you one.
He lives in Texas, but he retired 4-star general. Was that the general's name? I can't remember. The one we were supposed to see in Belton. In Belton, Texas, remember? Bob Allison said. I think that was his name. Well, we can talk about that at a different time. But,
okay.
You had a friend, a dear friend, and you both were captured by the NVA. You chose one path, and he chose another.
Yes.
Any relationship with him after the fall of Saigon?
Yeah, you asked me that story. That story was written by in the book that Colonel Pham Van Dinh. I was a prisoner of war. That means I was captured, and he was surrendered to NVA, and he dropped when he was surrendered in 1972 in May. That operation, I don't know, I don't remember the name, but I forgot it. He went North Vietnam attacked to South Vietnam. They brought tank and everything, overrun the 3rd Infantry Division, and Dinh commanded 56th Infantry Regiment of 3rd Infantry Division and stationed at Camp Carroll, south of Highway 9. That camp, my battalion were, and one Vietnamese engineer battalion to build it after Marine left, and we rebuilt the camp. That camp very strong because the Lieutenant Colonel of North Vietnam Army, yeah. But they convinced me to do that too. Turn to them. They give everything to me. I said, no, thanks. My life only one square. You know, under God, we trust, right?
Yeah.
So I refuse. I want to be a prisoner. What I am, my situation now. Whatever you do me, I don't care. Because I know them. I don't want to bend my head before my enemy. That's the reason I'm here.